I never liked my stepmom, and now I want to tell her why.
Tell it to her face.
For the first time in my life, I, 28 female, got into a big argument with my dad. My parents divorced when I was 5, and he almost immediately moved in with his new girlfriend. I lived with my mom and went to his place every other weekend and a half of school holidays. The best moments of those visits was always the drive back and forth, since it was usually just the two of us. The rest of the time I spent with my stepmother and her 2 children. By the way, this comes from Complex Row 89, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. And OP says, fast forward to today. My wife and I are buying a house, and I asked my dad if he could check it out on Wednesday. His answer, just trust the estate agent. He doesn't have the time because he might need to watch my stepsister's kids. He watches those kids every single week and has been doing it for years, always complaining about how much energy it takes. I completely feel let down. He rarely shows me that he cares for me. We have a cordial but not deep relationship, and this was one of the biggest steps of my life. And my dad didn't even try to be a part of it.
Oh, that's so tough.
I wondered if maybe my dad was hurt that we hadn't invited him to our current house. So I explained it wasn't personal. I told him I had nothing against him, but I didn't feel comfortable having my stepmother at my place because she's always been mean to me. He was welcome to my house by himself. My dad refused and got offended that he was just discovering I didn't like his wife. Like, open your eyes. She hates on me all the time. My dad said I needed to let go of the past and offered to get dinner soon to talk it out. I insisted to talk on the phone because I didn't feel like seeing him, and it wasn't a conversation to be had in a restaurant. More like at a picnic or in the middle of the woods. No one can hear us because we're going to be yelling at each other.
Oh, that works.
Here are some examples of why I can't stand her anymore. When I was doing a ballet at 5 or 6 years old, she said I was too fat to dance.
What? Sorry? She said what to a 5-year-old?
She forced me to get my armpits and legs waxed at 10 because she was afraid that me shaving would look bad in her wedding photos.
Oh my God. Wait, why would you even have been shaving at that age?
It hurt like heck, and I still remember feeling like complete crap.
Oh my God.
She didn't like me staying at home doing homework, reading, or playing video games, so I had to go out and hang out with my stepsister's friends, whether I wanted to or not. After I came out, she made closet guard comments about marriage whenever she got the chance to.
Yikes.
She encouraged me to sleep with men in case it turned me straight when I was 14.
This woman is evil.
This is an evil stepmother.
This is literally evil stepmother. She sounds like a nightmare.
I never told my dad about that one. She called me too fat when I was 16 for an entire summer, then called me too skinny at 18 because I became super self-conscious and lost a lot of weight. She undermined all my successes, especially school-related ones. Talked behind my back to other family members constantly. She would disagree with me about absolutely everything. She spent whole dinners talking about how my being vegetarian was wrong and stupid, though she never said a word about her son's vegetarian girlfriend.
Because she hates you. She literally hates you and she's jealous of you because you're her, you're from a different relationship.
She gives me the cold shoulder regularly or just acts super cold when I'm around. After 23 years of knowing her and 1.5 of therapy, I finally unloaded what I had to say. My dad thinks he did his best as a father and that she has nothing against me. He thinks I'm living in the past. Now he's blaming my wife for my changing behavior because I used to be afraid to speak up for myself. I'm not his girl anymore because I don't smile as much as I used to. Well, I'm done putting up a nice face when I'm being walked all over. Well, Dad, it's called therapy. Was I wrong? Am I really living in the past? Should I have accepted his invite to talk face to face? We have an update. Do not accept his invite to talk face to face.
Dude, you're living in the present.
Because what is he going to do if you meet face to face?
He's just going to be like, you're taking this too hard. Yep. You're overreacting. Yep. Yada, yada, yada.
And I guess I'd start thinking about what ties do you have to your dad? Financial ties. Mm-hmm. It doesn't seem like there's any emotional ties left.
No. Seems like OP's like married. Seems like she's pretty independent now.
Has her own house.
Yeah. If you really want to have a conversation with your dad, you could tell him all of these things that happened and then see what he says. But yeah, your stepmom sucks, and
23
you're not.
years.
You're very much in the right.
Yeah.
For not being over this, because it's still happening, or it has been happening.
My big brother texted me yesterday evening asking why I took such a big decision and saying that dad is not doing okay. I called my brother this morning to talk about it. His version: I'm screwing up the family dynamic and making things hard on my dad. Therapy is mostly BS, and I'm just being difficult. My mom has been complaining too because I've been parentified my whole life, and finally, a few months ago, felt brave enough to set boundaries. I haven't been nice to my dad because I didn't give him my address. A few months ago, when my dad asked for it, he said he'd stop by without warning like he always does. I told him not to do that because I hated it. He brushed me off, so I never gave him my address to keep peace and quiet.
Yeah, I'm sorry. You don't even have the address, and you're given one rule, and then you're like, nah, yeah, you're not gonna get the address if you can't agree to the one rule.
Like, why?
Pretty straightforward.
According to my brother, I shouldn't have said anything about my stepmother and should think about the consequences it has on the whole family. I am, and consequences sound good to me.
Yeah, she doesn't have to talk to these people. Great.
My words have been too harsh, though my reply was that I didn't tell him his wife was a effing witch, even though that's my opinion. So no,
It's my opinion.
I haven't been too harsh. Changes everything for everyone. I should be more thankful to my parents and shouldn't be so hard. I should let people have their way, or should I have spoken up before? My version: I've never been brave enough to speak my truth. Both my brothers have had the chance to live their lives while I was one left behind, taking care of my mom and basically being her parent. I have a right to decide for myself. I can refuse calls after 8 p.m., decide who I want in my house, say no to when I don't want things to happen. I need therapy because I have been complacent with everyone my whole life. I finally deserve a chance to live my life, and I'm setting up my rules. Accept them, don't discuss them, neither stay or leave. Hope he's just growing a backbone.
Yeah, I agree, and you deserve it.
And the haters are not liking how tough it is.
And who cares what they think? Who cares? Because you're living your best life, and you got a wife and a house, and what do they have? Problems.
Your haters are your motivators.
Mm-hmm.
Yo.
Old adage.
After talking to my brother, I decided to call my dad. Apparently, he understood that I didn't want to see him with his wife anymore. But what I meant was I don't want her in my home. I told my dad that my home was my safe place, and I don't want people I wasn't comfortable around in it. He laughed and said he loved me, but my reasoning was stupid.
Okay. Well, you're stupid, so there. How do you like that? How you like them apples?
I feel like you need to talk to your dad in businessman talk.
Yeah.
Hey, Dad, remember that job you used to have with that horrible boss? Imagine you're still working for that boss, and no matter how much time and effort you put into this project, he's going to say it's the worst thing ever.
And also call you fat.
And then give you no pay raises whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And guess who just got a pay raise? Your coworker that does less than you.
Yep. And what are you going to do? You staying in that job? Because I'm not.
And guess who's getting 18 holes with the boss? And maybe another possible chance at a raise. Not you. I think you need to talk to him in that way.
Yeah, it's just he's so like, it's not even oblivious. It's just he's like willfully ignorant. It's so frustrating.
I told him she hurt me and I could make a list if he wanted examples. He laughed about me making a list. When I gave him examples, he excused them all and said I exaggerated them. According to him, I was well treated because she didn't harm me or pester me. I was fed, and she did things for me. He couldn't give me a single example of what she did for me. He didn't care about anything on my list and brushed it all off. Even when I told him, he never defended me. He said I was still his daughter, and he loved me, but he wasn't going to see me without his wife. We would just call anyway. He added that his wife has been crying for days about it. Like, what the F?
She hates you. What is she crying about?
He told me I should have talked to her directly. I told him I never felt safe enough to talk to her face to face, but I could call her. I'm wondering if I should call her, tell her why I basically hate her. It would be liberating, and nobody could use the argument, you should be an adult and talk to her directly. But, same time, feels weird to call someone, tell them why you hate them. By the way, you can listen to more stories about hating people on your favorite podcast platform. Just search up OK Storytime on Apple, iHeartRadio, or Spotify. And we're here for 70 days. Probably 71.
Probably
Counting.
70 more.
Yeah.
And counting.
Dang. Yeah, I mean, if you need this, if this is like your moment where you just release all of those years of pent-up rage,
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah,
Do
dude.
it. You have nothing to lose. She hates you. You hate her.
Yeah.
You already kind of want to cut off your dad.
Mm-hmm.
Peace out.
Yeah, the consequence is... Consequence, that word is a neutral word. It doesn't mean... you can be positive consequences or negative consequences. But the consequence of this is just not interacting with the family.
Yeah.
And it
Which is
doesn't...
already kind of seeming like that's where you're going.
And I hate that, like, you're... Also, your mom and your brothers aren't very supportive either.
Yeah.
And you're kind of stuck in this tough spot. I would prioritize making solid friends and
Yeah.
investing in my relationship.
Well, she's got her wife. That's something.
Yeah, I mean,
But,
you
like,
can
also
have a
your
good
friends.
relationship with your wife, like, definitely. But
Like,
if
that's
you're,
your family, I mean. now,
yeah,
you know?
but if you only rely on that, that gets...
Absolutely, yeah, definitely need, like, hopefully you have a good support system with your friends and stuff. But, yeah, I think that, like, just kind of focusing on creating that new family outside of your family, that sucks.
Yep, we got a little bit left here. I've always been conflict avoidant, so this is all new to me. My mother doesn't know about the conflict with my dad yet. But even before this, she already thought I'd changed since I'm not ready to drop everything I'm doing to help her with minor stuff anymore. My wife and I got married last Thursday, but we only invited our friends to our wedding. It was a total of 8 of us. Our parents don't know we got married, though they knew we were engaged. We're sending the "we said yes" cards today. It's going to make such a mess on my side of the family. I added to the previous tensions. I think you'll have plenty to read. Yikes. And that's the end of the story.
I refuse to let my nephew live with me. Now my family is furious.
Tell him to get his own place.
I, female 39, am very much not a kid person. I can tolerate them in small doses, but I also find them uninteresting, annoying, and don't want any of my own. I am well aware that my child unfriendliness off-putting and can strategically fake it until I make it most of the time. I just prefer to avoid situations and relationships where I'm expected to interact with kids, but when I can't, I radiate "don't talk to me" energy to deter them, and will try to pawn them off or redirect them and escape.
You just have an RBF and people have problems with it.
By the way, this comes from favorite nephew 11, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. And OP says, I had the good fortune to be the baby of the family during my generation, but as my siblings and cousins started having kids, they resented me for being an irresponsible man-aunt, as one cousin put it. They kept pushing me to be involved with their kids, and I eventually snapped and told them how I felt about kids in general. Afterwards, I was slowly iced out socially. I stopped trying when I was hospitalized and only one person even bothered to visit or even call. The one exception was my brother Michael, male 43. He never questioned or undermined my decision. He was that one sole visitor when I was hospitalized. He never tried to force his son, Adam, male 18, upon me, nor did he resent that I didn't take a serious interest in Adam until he was 14. Even when he was in the trenches in regard to parenting, he still made time to call or text, if sporadically. In the present, Adam is the only niece or nephew that I care about. Yes, his cousins did not receive a fair opportunity to bond with me. Yes, I'm playing favorites. I've set up a $10K college fund. I take him out for experiences monthly, and I've given him some pricey gifts, while his cousins get zilch.
Okay.
Yes, this
Wow.
has caused friction in the past, but I've always been happy to be the bad guy. I try to be discreet. Adam has been instructed to attribute the gifts to his father and not me, and I did not tell him about the college fund until a month ago. My latest gift, however, has led to a major fallout.
Oh boy. Look,
I have mixed feelings about
I
this.
do too. I understand that you're not a kid person.
I think you're very much not allowed, or allowed to not be a kid person, and that no one should like force you to take care of the kids or watch the kids or, you know, all that. But I feel like there is a certain amount of just respectfulness that you know, like when you're at family events, you can be nice to the kids. You don't have to play with them.
I've seen family members have favorites, but they
Yeah.
still gave everyone the
You
same
still get,
amount.
I don't know, this just like, I feel like if you have kids, they're a really important part of your life and
Yeah.
their family. And as long as they're not saying like, hey, you need to watch our kids, babysit them, blah, 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 then I you know, I kind of understand why they've grown distant, because you
Yeah.
can't really, it's really hard to have a relationship with someone while also having kids that they don't, you know, want to have a relationship with. I live in a desirable location in a major city, and Michael and Adam live nearby. Adam was recently accepted to his dream school in said city, but it's out of his budget. I offered to let him live rent-free with me, which would allow him to commute. My house is much closer to campus, and thus much more affordable. The issue is my other nephew, Alex, was also accepted into that school, and it's also his dream school. Alex comes from a disadvantaged background while Adam is middle class. Alex won a partial scholarship to said school, but it's still not enough. When he heard about my offer to Adam, he asked, using Adam as an intermediary, to be included. I refused. I have nothing against Alex, but I also haven't talked to him for 15 years. Not that we were ever close, and we simply don't have an emotional connection. It would also come at a massive opportunity cost. I rent out my spare bedrooms and I'd lose $38,000 in rental income. Yes, this is well below market rate over 4 years. Most of my relatives are now in arms. They have given the ultimatum that either I extend my offer to Alex as well, I rescind my offer, or Adam rejects my offer, or they will go no contact with Adam and Michael.
Oh my gosh.
They're calling Adam the golden child. He's an only child, saying that Alex deserves my help far more and are tired of my favoritism. They're not wrong about my favoritism, but honestly, I don't give an F about my ex-family.
Okay.
Though I never blocked them or had a big fallout, we've been effectively no contact. I value chosen family over people who happen to share my DNA, and we both made choices that demoted them to the latter category. I'm also of the opinion that aunts and uncles are entitled to have preferences. Furthermore, I don't see what makes Alex more deserving. He certainly needs the help more, but that's not my tab to pay. Adam is in a more complicated situation. Michael is willing to support whatever Adam chooses and refuses to pressure him. Adam and Alex aren't close, but accepting my offer would mean giving up many other familial bonds that Adam does value. Rejecting it means Adam giving up his dream school. I do feel bad that my offer is forcing Adam to choose.
Okay.
And there is an edit, which I'm going to read. I
Okay.
can't believe that I have to say this explicitly, but I don't hate kids. They're just not my cup of tea. You cannot like something and not want to throw it into a trash compactor. There is an update.
Yo,
I don't
What?
Dude,
fully
this-
believe that you don't.
I think you had a
think
bad
you do kind of-
experience.
You
Yeah.
do.
I think you do kind of hate kids.
So it's not that you don't like kids. I feel like you found an attachment to
Mhm.
someone you see as your predecessor, because
Yeah.
I am believing you're probably not going to ever have kids.
Yeah.
So you're like, I'm just going to give them everything. I do not like what OP is doing here.
I think it's a little bit of an
Whatsoever.
everyone sucks situation, but OP's
Well-
in her right.
She has the power to do that. That is nothing I would do with my family. I
I
wouldn't
agree.
pick a favorite. I wouldn't do that. OP, you're the a-hole, and you have to stand by it, because if you don't stand by it,
Yeah.
what even are you? Pick a lane.
You've got to stick with your decision.
Yeah.
But there's an update, folks. I saw a few questions in my last post that I wanted to address. Why not try to form a bond with Alex now? He comes across as a gold digger and disingenuous, seeing as he was perfectly happy being distant from me without something to gain. Why distance yourself from Alex's parents' sins? I didn't. I just don't have a reason to try to form a bond with him. Just like I don't have a reason to connect with a cashier at my local grocery store.
Oh, my, no way. You just compared
Dude.
family to that.
Dude, the crazy thing is that she grew distant from her family because she wasn't willing to have any relationships with the kid.
And now it seems like it's their fault. You're the a-hole.
You're the a-hole for that. Like, again, you absolutely should not have to bring Alex in because you don't have any relationship with him. But, like, it's completely your fault that you don't have a relationship with
This
him.
is wild.
Many people that didn't meet by circumstance meet because of social lubricant that brought them together. Aunt and nephew ties are facilitated by said aunt's ties to the child's parents and wider family. And said ties do not exist in this case. A relationship with Alex might also be a liability if our relatives try to weaponize it in some way. And given that they already tried with Adam, I'll pass. Why didn't you put your bio family on an information diet? I did. Unfortunately, I suspect that Adam slipped up during his excitement at being given the chance to attend his dream school after thinking that he couldn't. I've always stressed the importance of secrecy, but up to this point, he's never experienced conditional love, and in his naiveness, believed the best from his relatives. It's a lesson that I wish he'd learn in a different manner, but what's done is done. I did see the suggestion about claiming that I have a long-term lease on my other rooms, and that probably wouldn't work. My relatives would probably demand that I try to break the lease, taking on the penalties, or that Alex and Adam share a room.
Yeah, which if I were you, I would do that.
That's what I probably would have done. I'd have been like, yeah, Alex and Aaron, because clearly Alex and Adam are like friendly.
Yeah.
So they probably would be chill sharing a room.
Here we go. Hey guys, you can share a room and you're gonna mow the yard and
Yeah, put them to work, man.
Here and there.
Could you compromise? Is there a win-win solution for both Adam and Alex? Maybe let them share a room. Perhaps, but you never negotiate with bullies. It sends the wrong message.
You're the bully. You're literally the bully because you have not even extended your hand to maybe even meet Alex. I don't even think you even know who Alex is.
Do you know? I don't. I mean, she said he was like a stranger.
Oh, Alex is a nephew of mine that has a problem with me. I guess it's a problem now.
Dude, I just disagree with how you've like the beginning of the story.
I can't.
You don't have to do anything you don't want to do right now. If you do not want Alex to move in, don't let him move in. It's your choice. However, I disagree with everything that you did at the beginning of the story. Also, it would be incredibly awkward and tense between Alex and I. Never mind Alex and Adam, who would be living in the same room. Why not just rent out the room and send Adam the proceeds so he can get a room elsewhere? My rates are well below market value, and it would not cover the cost of a room elsewhere in the area for Adam. I could raise the price to market value, but then I'd have to explain to said potential tenants why they're being charged so much more than the tenant that I already have. I also don't want to raise my rates on principle. I don't like that landlords and private equity are intentionally squeezing the housing market. The only reason why I'm renting out my rooms is because they'd be sitting empty otherwise, and offering them cheaply was a compromise between pragmatism and my values. I actually would have preferred a smaller place, but there weren't any smaller houses that ticked off my non-negotiable requirements. You've no right to feel hurt over being abandoned in the hospital. You push them away, says someone else. As acknowledged in my post, everyone made decisions that contributed to me going no contact. I was disinterested in the center of their world, and they couldn't accept me as who I was.
It sounds like
every time she went and saw those kids, she was like, she literally said she'd like scare them off.
You want to talk to them, she gives the RBF.
I'm like, you don't have to play with them. It's totally valid for people not to want to have kids or not be kid people. But to be like, yeah, I intentionally scared away my little nephews and nieces and nibblies.
Yeah, in a way, she's like being the victim here.
A little bit, yeah.
Aw, boo-hoo, my house is too big.
And while I certainly self-selected out of kid-centric events, I repeatedly tried to reach out to arrange kid-free hangouts. Heck, I would have been okay with occasional texts and phone calls. That was literally the only way Michael and I stayed in touch until Adam was 7. And the hospital incident didn't hurt me so much as it was the final nail that ended any hope of reconciliation. I was well aware that our relationship was fraying well before the incident. As for the actual updates, Michael, his wife, and I were gearing up to have a talk with Adam to discuss his options, go over the pros and cons and long-term effects, reaffirm our support, and nudge him in the right direction. It turns out we didn't need to, though not for the reason that we'd like. Adam called me yesterday, clearly upset. Apparently his cousins have been talking smack behind his back, saying some really nasty and cruel things and targeting some of his deepest insecurities. Even if he wanted to make peace with Alex, it wouldn't be possible now. I still think that it would be beneficial to have the talk with him, though, if only to help process his feelings.
If only to help.
And I would love you guys to process that you can listen to full episodes of stories just like this. All you got to do is go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. There is a little bit left to this story. Do you have any final thoughts?
I'm glad you're not my aunt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even if
don't
I
know.
was Adam, I'm still glad you're not my aunt.
I like at the end of the day, I do think, to go back to a comment that you made earlier of like, she didn't have preferences, blah, blah, blah. I think preferences are kind of natural, especially, you know, if you live closer to a certain, you know, niece or nephew. Just happens that you're going to be like, I have family members that I'm closer with. I have
Yeah.
aunts that I'm closer with. But I think bringing it to this level is pretty harsh.
You're like, it's one thing to give $10,000 expensive, pricey gifts to one part of the family and completely ignoring
Yeah.
the opportunity you can give this kid. And you're like, nah, I just don't like
Yeah.
him.
But on the other hand, I also understand your point of being like, I have no relationship with these people. They have never showed up for anything, you know, and maybe that was because of what OP did. And,
Yeah.
you know, but like at the end of the day, you don't have a relationship with these people and they're only showing up now because they need something. So I get it. I think it's an everyone sucks situation.
Everyone does suck.
What
What else does OP have to say? I'm done with this person.
It isn't all doom and gloom, though. A friend of a friend is apparently an interviewer for a job that one of the nasty cousins has applied for and asked about a week ago if I knew them. We look similar and have an unusual family name and had any tea. No, I was not listed as a reference. I didn't know the cousin well enough to comment back then, but now,
Oh, no.
guess who's going to get a call and a warning not to hire that cousin due to bad character? Did I also mention that said job was in a small industry with typically only one employer per area? Yes, I'm a petty queen and I own it.
All right, you're the a-hole.
I had an argument with my mother. Now I'm considering no contact.
You're never going to see me again.
I'm 40, so there is a lot of history here. Childhood was fine. My mom worked hard to support me and my sister. We moved around a lot, settled with my now stepdad when I was 10. By the way, this comes from user LLEC2025, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. And OP says, there were some hurtful things she told me that stand out, such as she didn't want me, my dad did,
Oof.
and then he left when I was 18 months old.
Oof.
She loves me as I'm her daughter, but as a person doesn't like me. I spent most of my 20s trying to buy her affection. We are very different. She's lived in the same town her whole life. Very conservative financially, worked a 9-to-5 job, retired at 53 to take care of my sister's little girl. I moved to America, flitted around for years, and came back to settle in England when I was 30. I met my husband, set up a business, which took off about an hour away. We ended up together, and we bought a house in a nice village an hour away from the city I grew up in. Now I'm married with 2 boys, 5 and 1. This is a huge point of contention. Every conversation is, if you lived closer, I could help with this, I could do this or that, blah, blah, blah. Even though time has shown that space works best for us. The closer we are, the more we argue. We currently FaceTime daily, and I drive to see her once a week with the kids. She hates that I don't have a normal job and says I should be working a 9-to-5 and should live closer. We have had several arguments in the past that have led to months of no contact,
Dang.
and this got significantly better once I had children, as my tolerance grew a lot.
She's like, once I realized that my mother was just a baby, everything was fine.
Silly baby, your annoying
Silly
relatives.
baby.
I say it once, I say it 1,000 times. Silly baby.
Silly baby.
I would ignore most of the things that would usually cause arguments after that. But we have had maybe 2 spells since my first son was born. It is always me that caves and goes back to contacting her. Now I've had my second son, he is 18 months, and she will not have my kids overnight. I know grandparents are under no obligation to, but it is hurtful that she doesn't want to.
What's crazy that she keeps saying, oh, if you were closer, I could help you so much. And then when you need her help, she's like, no,
They cannot stay the evening.
why would you think I would help you?
My first son has stayed a handful of times. My kids are completely different. My oldest has GDD and will happily sit and watch TV or iPad or sit and do whatever he is obsessive about at the time. My youngest is an outside, in the dirt, climbing, looking at flowers, playing with bugs kind of boy. This brings us to yesterday. I'm driving up. I break down as I'm coming off the motorway at a busy junction. About 8 minutes from her house, I call my mom and ask her to call my brother-in-law, who lives on the next street over, to see if he'll pick the kids up. She says no, as it was 12:30, and he doesn't wake up until 1 p.m. He works nights. My husband calls my stepdad, who said he would let his boss know he had to come tow me off the motorway. Mom calls back to say he can't just leave his job. He would have to put tools away, etc., etc. At this point, a man had stopped and was helping me. He towed me to a safe street. I got the kids and bags and got an Uber to my mom's. I was stressed and the kids were restless. My youngest goes straight to the cat water bowl to play with the water. My mom hates this and picks it up. I then take a call from my stepdad and update him that I'm at my mom's, etc. Youngest gets into the cat litter.
What is going on?
My mom yells at me and says I rolled my eyes. I don't think I did, but maybe I could have.
You probably did.
He then starts to open and close kitchen doors.
Nice.
She has a...
It has thumbs, so it definitely isn't a cat.
How did he
Nice.
do that?
I just like that. Nice. Opening and closing the doors. Classic.
Good job.
Classic move. I like that. She has a bag of my eldest's toys. He is sitting and watching TV, but he isn't interested in them. My husband then arrives, so we go to try and get the truck moving and see if it's salvageable. We take our youngest, as he's already getting my mom stressed out. While out, I get him a new toy. He might play with that instead of things he shouldn't. When we get back, my mom is sat on the couch with my oldest. He's on his iPad. I don't let him have this at her house, as he only sees her once a week. It's for car rides. The youngest goes out to the garden, and she has a B-shaped gnome that he pulls an ear off of. Mom gets mad. He's touching the solar balls. Again, he's told no. Basically told no to everything.
Well, I mean, like, he shouldn't be touching those things, but, like...
Don't let him touch the solar balls.
But, like, I don't know. Is she even equipped to handle these kids?
Yeah, it just sounds like it's
like
very obvious, like, oh, you're not equipped to
Yeah.
actually help me or the kids in any way.
Which sucks, and, like, she keeps offering when she's clearly not able to do it.
yeah.
But it's like, yeah, I definitely wouldn't leave my kids with these...
Even the oldest, it's like,
yeah.
you're letting him on the iPad. Not supposed to be on the iPad at your place.
Not working.
I then say to my mom, I think until he's a little older, it might be best if she visits me.
Yeah.
She's maybe been down to my house 5 or 8 times in 4 years. The argument starts that he needs to be told no. She would have told me no if she took me to someone's house at this age. I explain that I think it's different as he's coming for such a long time, usually 6 hours, so he can see Auntie and Granddad too, as they all live in that town. I'm sure she meant if she took me somewhere for an hour or so. We both agreed her garden isn't child-friendly. If he wants to play in it, he can play with his ball. I said that's not possible to explain to a 1-year-old child.
Yeah.
Then she started to shout. I asked her to talk and not shout at me, which made her even angrier. And she told me I was pushing my luck, and I will not tell her what to do in her own home. I said if it's about her shouting at me in front of her kids, then I absolutely think I can tell her what to do in her own home. Argument got worse. Husband put the kids in his car, which had only 2 seats in the front, and the back is an open van space, so me and my 5-year-old had to sit on the floor for the hour-long drive.
Rough.
I did point out she had a car that they could have offered to lend me to get home safely, and that I did think my brother-in-law should have come to get the kids. Response was, it's not her car, it's my stepdad's, and that I expect everyone to drop everything for me. I told her that she is welcome to visit the kids at my house whenever she likes, but I won't be bringing them back until she agrees to not shout at me in front of them. She told me to get out and that she wouldn't be told what to do in her own home, and so she wouldn't be seeing us again.
Oi, oi, oi.
Sounds like she made a whole lot of
Lady.
decisions for herself there.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it.
She
She said, I'm going to help you. And then you said, okay, let's do a little test drive. See how they fare at your house. And she went, get them out of my house.
Yes. And I'm also cutting myself off from you, and that's your fault.
Yeah, that's on her. She's made her, like, you were like, oh, I don't know if I should go no contact with my mom. It sounds like she's going no contact with you.
Yeah. My heart aches, as I have 2 friends who have recently lost their mothers. She's 65 and may not have long left, but the favoritism is clear between my kids. And,
Not that old.
and even
She's
me
fine
and my
tomorrow.
husband have the no shouting in front of the kids rule. So am I the a-hole for expecting my mom to respect that boundary in her home and to have her home a little more child-friendly for visits? Or is she right and I'm wrong to try to tell her what she should do? I don't know if it's relevant, but my role in the family has always been fixer, usually financially if someone got into debt or paying for people to go on holiday. My stepdad once was wrongfully dismissed, or they attempted to, and I won him an ACAS case. I made sure everyone has what they need. By the way, I know exactly what you need, and it's full episodes with stories just like this that you can listen to on your favorite podcasting platform. Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts. I don't care where you're listening. Just search OK Storytime, and you can listen to over 70 days worth of stories. That's a lot. That's a lot. Grab a bucket and a mop. That's a lot.
Hey, that was good.
There's a little bit more story left.
Sure is.
Honestly,
I think that limiting or no contact, probably maybe limiting contact with your mom, it's just frustrating. You're trying to like have a relationship with your mom, and you've been trying to figure out for years what the most effective way to have that relationship is, and it seems like she's a really difficult person to get on with.
she's a nasty little lady. Your
She's a
mum.
nasty little lady.
She's just a nasty little lady, she is.
Yeah.
Let's finish this story. I am really aware that most of my examples are financial, and I don't know why that is. It makes me feel embarrassed to even write it. I think I know why it is. It's because they just use you for money, my guy.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Exactly.
I wasn't really that aware of how strange it was until I got with my husband. I've taken my family on and paid for them to go on 7 vacations by the time I met him at 30.
Oh, wow.
Paid for 7 vacations?
7? That's too many.
6, 7?
7 vacations that I'm assuming you didn't go on.
It said paid
Ooh.
for, yeah. Didn't really
That's
say that I went
crazy.
on them. That's, yeah, you got unhealthy relationship here.
Ay, ay, ay. I've literally just loaned my sister money for vet bills last week. So I don't think it's unreasonable for me to ask for her husband to pick up the kids from an unsafe location for a 15-minute round trip. I absolutely have not fallen out with my sister or brother-in-law, or even had that conversation. He just said if she'd have rang, of course he'd have come. And there are some comments here. Comment number 1. OP, stop chasing your mom's affection and approval. You aren't going to get it.
Yeah.
That's a hard reality, and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And truthfully, oh, wait, I just remembered the stuff from the beginning of the story where she's like, yeah, by the way, I don't actually even like you.
Yeah.
And also,
never-
I never
like,
wanted
OP
you.
is-
Your dad
yes.
loved you more than me.
OP has been chasing this affection from like the get-go, and it's never been a good relationship. And she said the only reason that it got better is because they moved apart, but even still, it's not that great.
Yeah, dog. You don't have to maintain a relationship with this
No.
nasty lady.
Nasty, nasty.
That is a hard reality, and I am sorry. And truthfully, do you really need it at this point in your life? Protect your younger son from your mom's favoritism and unrealistic expectations. She doesn't want to deal with his energy, and that's fine, but her approach is damaging to both of your boys. I'd take space from her for several months and see how you feel, and then reevaluate. You don't need to make anything permanent right now. Good luck. Comment 2, it doesn't sound like your mom much likes you nor your children. Let them go and focus on what is good in your life and makes you and your family, children and partner, happy. OP says, it was strange because my partner is probably one of the most confrontational people in the world. It's not a good thing. It's a problem he works on, and we do together, so it was really, really surprising for him to see someone speak to me that way and not say anything. He was super quiet on the way home, and I asked him if he was okay. He seemed shocked, and he literally just said he's never seen anyone look at someone with so much hatred and anger as when she was shouting at me, and it just shocked him. He didn't know what to do. He did the right thing getting the kids away, but I think you're right. She doesn't like me. She likes my oldest, but not my youngest, but don't think she likes any of us enough to back down to avoid never seeing them again, and that's what's so sad. But you can't change that, can you? I've been back and forth on what's best for the kids. Cut the cord now so they don't miss her or keep the relationship going with her for them. But every time we have a disagreement, then they have to deal with her being no contact with them. Yeah, I don't think it's
I
a
don't think
very
it's good for
positive relationship for anyone,
No.
including the kids.
I don't think it'd be good for them to have this very kind of flighty character in their life. That probably, if she told you that she never wanted you, what is she going to say to those kids?
Yeah, she clearly already doesn't like your youngest.
Yeah. But
For-
like,
for-
what is she going to say to the
Just
kids?
because he's a baby.
Just because he's a baby. Yeah, I think for the kids, you got to be really, careful about that. Like, I don't know. I don't think that relationship would be healthy in the long run because it's not healthy now.